What I wanted to ask you is getting to the root of it then. Why do you think these families are failing to cohere in the same way that the Asian families do? What do you think's at the root of that? Because I think that's important.
Yeah, that's something I haven't delved into too much. It is what it is. I mean, you can say it's a culture, but it's like I don't understand,
Mm.
why this is. I mean, all I can say is my personal story. My mum was English, my father was Jamaican, but he left before I was born. And I never met my father. So I'm you could say subject to the same kind of circumstances, but it does seem to be some kind of culture. Not every Jamaican
Sure.
father is bad. There are many who do stay with their kids and do a fantastic job, but it just
Yeah.
seems to be more of a sort of issue among certain cultures that it's accepted that you have you have this language: baby father, baby mother. And the
Mm.
man is the baby father. He has a baby mother, then he gets bored and goes on to another baby mother.
This
This
sounds all very American to me.
yeah, it was American, Caribbean, but it's
Mm.
sort of it exists here in some of the
Mm.
sort of areas of London where there's this kind of culture exists, and I'm not from that. I'm not part of it, so I don't fully understand it, and
Mm.
I don't fully understand how to deal with it. But I do know that before there was I think that we've had a deliberate undermining of family values
Mm.
in the West for decades, starting in the 60s and so on. And we were promised, the sort of the sexual revolution. It's great. You can go out and you can be promiscuous and love who you want, whatever. And that had short-term pleasures, but it has long-term consequences, because what's
Yeah.
happened now is for many people, the idea of the traditional family, which is a stable bedrock, which you need, which is good for kids and bringing up kids and passing on your values from generation to generation and giving them the best possible opportunities and start in life, has gone. And that's not just gone, it's denigrated in the mainstream
Mm.
media. And I think that with the sort of gangster rapper culture and stuff, it glorifies just the free living, free life, get lots of material stuff, but treat your woman bad and just move on. And
Die
this
young.
is all sort of marketed to people,
Mm.
in white culture and black culture, but it seems to be, it's obviously it's been more, its effect is more pronounced in some of the black communities, and it's been devastating to family life, and people
Mm.
just don't think that they need a family anymore. They've lost any sense of the value of family, and we're told today. I mean, one of the things I campaign on a lot is I campaign against the introduction of this relationships and sex education they want to bring into schools to children, which will be compulsory. Parents won't have any choice anymore whether the kids will have to go to this lesson or not. And one of the things they want to teach children is there are many kind of families and they're all equal. Well, they're not. There are many
Mm.
types of families because the traditional family model has been deliberately attacked and broken down. And now they're saying, well, there's lots of different types of families. If you don't accept them all, then you're not being inclusive and you're being
Yeah.
nasty. But actually, if you don't say that the best, most stable model is the best and most stable model, then you're actually lying to children.
Yeah.
And you might spare somebody's feelings in the short term, but you're actually destroying society and the chances of many children in the long term. And so, there's just no honesty about this. And, this again is something I've had arguments and in debates with
Yeah.
the other sort of assembly members in the London Assembly. But, it's true. I see it's true. And, and I cannot not speak the truth. It is. And this is what we need to
Well,
just start to improve things.
yeah, no, I think you're completely correct. And I think that it's very interesting that you've attacked the idea of equality there, because equality is quite an abstract ideal, really. And if you look at reality, very few people are actually very equal in very many ways. In fact, it's hard to think of. I mean, I've met you personally, and what are you, 6'4"?
Yes.
I'm 5'9" and I don't feel very equal when we stood next to each other. But that's not the question, is it? That's the point. The reality is different, and you have to map your thoughts to reality and not the other way around, which appears to be what I think the left is trying to do. So it seems very much that the Heritage Party has a strong focus on family and family values, traditional family values,
Yeah.
and I think that your thesis here, while denied by Sadiq Khan, is completely correct. I do think it's been a degeneration of family values and core, like the ethic of the family raising healthy children. But how does that connect to the? Because the name Heritage, I think, is a very interesting name. I think it's actually one of the better named of the new dissident right-wing parties, shall we call you? Because this then connects it back to the country and the culture and the sort of continuity of civilization, doesn't it? You know, it implies that there was something worthy about England that deserves preserving, and Britain that deserves preserving, which I think is also very much the opposite of the view of the current elite paradigm, like Sadiq Khan's paradigm. So could you expand on that a bit for us? Tell us what you think of Britain and whether it's an evil, racist, systemically racist country, or maybe there's something here that's worth preserving.
Well, that's what we're being told, aren't we? And that's what children are being taught all the time, that Britain is bad, and they're only taught about slavery. I mean, there's such a focus in the media and the sort of elite, you know, that we're a bad nation because of slavery 200 to 350 years ago. And yeah, that's nothing to be proud of. That was wrong, absolutely. But then we can be proud that we were the first large country ever in history to abolish slavery. And we're not just in our territory. We went round the world trying to abolish it all in other places. You know, we stopped the Arab slave trade in East Africa as well, the Barbary Coast slave trade, which actually, you know, they used to trade in white slaves from Europe and take them to the Middle East. You know, we stopped all of that. And, you know, we've got such a fantastic legacy to be proud of there, and also in innovation, you know, in science and advances in technology that, you know, have helped serve the world. You know, so many things we invented in this country that, you know, have gone around, and you know, the way of doing things which is civilized and so on. And, you know, and I think this is something that maybe people would not sort of pick up much, but you go to African countries sometimes, and they are actually very, very grateful that the UK gave Christianity to them. You know, they're very grateful for that. And many of them are coming back to the UK, because we do have a lot of immigration from Africa back to the UK. And, you know, I've met people from Uganda and Nigeria, and they say they're absolutely shocked at the state of our country at the moment, because they expected to be a Christian country with Christian values and live in the way that they do there. And when they're faced with the sort of degeneracy that we have, they're absolutely shocked with that. I mean, so that's another thing that, you know, I'm personally proud of as a Christian. You know, not everyone might agree, but I think it's a good thing. We've got so much to be proud of as a nation. You know, we've got a fantastic long history, you know, that go, I would see it extending back 1400 years to the Saxons, basically. So I would see the Romans as maybe a slightly different era, but from then it's a continuous history from the Saxons, and then the Vikings and the Normans and so on coming over. And through that, we've got Alfred the Great, who put in the basis of common law, and then the Magna Carta, and then we've got the sort of Bill of Rights of 1689 and so on. And you know, this is a wonderful foundation for freedom and common law and liberty that we've got in our country, which is spread over the world. And you know, most Commonwealth countries today have that legacy of freedom that comes from our legal system. So we've got so much to be proud of, and so much that we've given the world. And even in the last century, you know, our forefathers, our grandfathers and great grandfathers generation laid down their lives to fight Nazi tyranny, you know, and save the world, basically, which is you know, something that we should be so proud of. And you know, it's really absolutely terrible that you get some of these
Labour
really
Party members,
ignorant, university educated, programmed, you know, drones. They're programmed into ignorance, and they go and they daub the statue of Churchill and say Churchill was a racist. I mean, this is absolutely, you know, it's stupidity, it's ignorance, and you know, some of them is deliberate, most of them are useful idiots, but really, you know, this needs to stop.
Yeah.
And you know, so going back to the heritage party, I mean, this is what we're about. I mean, saying that we are a fantastic country, we
Mhm.
should be proud of our heritage, and we, you know, but it is under attack.
Yeah.
And it's under attack from people like Sadiq Khan, who set up a diversity in the public spaces commission, and he wants to rename our streets and take down our statues and rename our public spaces. I don't
It,
want that. I want our public spaces to represent the fantastic history that we have. I don't want Trafalgar Square to be renamed as, like, you know, Diane Abbott Square or
God,
something.
can you even imagine just,
Can you imagine that?
God, it sounds awful, doesn't it? But you're exactly right, because it is coming from essentially the Labour Party, this kind of revolutionary fervour to tear down statues, to rename all of our historic monuments and areas, and like generally attack Britain in any way that they can. And I'm really tired of seeing it. And so it's great to hear someone who's at least in opposition to that and will speak it publicly, because I think one of the things the Conservatives are just not nearly firm enough on is this point, because it's so obvious. There's a malevolent attack against the concept of Britain and Britishness.